What's up, guys? You know what? I'm gonna make a video on strategy guides. Now, I'm pretty sure I could guess what a lot of you are thinking initially, like, ew, strategy guides, ew. But I think that's why I want to make this video, because a lot of people have the wrong idea and have never given strategy guides a chance, or think that strategy guides are like they used to be in the past, and they're not. They're completely different now. And I think they serve a different purpose than a lot of people think they do. I think the first thing that people think of when you say a strategy guide is, oh, you're gonna cheat, or you're gonna see spoilers, or you're gonna see how to beat a certain level or something. That was more true in the past. I remember getting strategy guides for like Zelda. I remember my brother had the strategy guide for Zelda Ocarina of Time. And if you guys remember the Forest Temple, that temple was pretty much impossible to beat without some kind of help, because it was this crazy puzzle and you had to do things in specific orders, and it was just crazy. So I remember we had the strategy guide for that, and that one I remember was like, do this, do that, do this, do that. But as of late, and especially depending on the company and depending on the genre of the game, the strategy guide is very different. It's not like a lot of people think, because when I say I collect strategy guides, or I buy strategy guides for this game, they're like, no, it's not. So I decided to make this video. Now, I'm not trying to sell strategy guides to you guys. I'm not trying to prove that strategy guides are awesome. I just want to clear some things up for some people that maybe would like to get a strategy guide to keep track of things. But I do understand that some people do not like strategy guides, or they just don't buy strategy guides, whether they like them or not. They just don't buy them because they want to go into the game completely blind, where they're like, I want to learn about the game on my own. I don't want to, not even if it doesn't have to do with a mission, I don't want to read anything about it. I want to learn it on my own. I totally understand that as well. And I do that for the most part, and I'm going to explain how I use strategy guides in this video, and how strategy guides are being formed or are being made for this kind of purpose nowadays. So let me show you guys my strategy guides. I've got my strategy guides at the very bottom of my bookshelf. This is the Dragon Age Inquisition strategy guide, which was super awesome. It came in this is the collector's edition. It came in this, and it came with a bunch of really cool things. These leather bookmarks. Came with 4 of these. I believe it also came with a really cool pen, which I really like. It's like awesome ink, an ink pen. I tend to get strategy guides for games that I really like. As you can see here, these aren't strategy guides. Those are comics and the World of Thetis and all that. Oh, and this is a YouTube book. It didn't fit anywhere else, but don't pay attention to that. These are mostly RPG strategy guides, as you could see. I love how they look. Like, they're just freaking awesome. I use post-it notes so that I could keep track of stuff, like where, because sometimes in the game you're just like, especially with games not coming with manuals anymore, like for Human Revolution, I'd use it with, I had a really bad time trying to learn the hacking in Human Revolution. So this helped me understand the hacking a lot. Like, I love to read anyways, and I hate having to look online. Like, some people just like to just go online and they don't even have to buy the strategy guide, which is totally fine. I prefer having a book. I prefer being able to just look for it here with my post-it note and then highlight. I usually highlight. I didn't use this strategy guide as much as I have with the other strategy guides. I used it to learn some systems, and also to read the characters. I really like that some strategy guides come with bios to characters and stuff on the very back, and there's a lot of really cool reading material and stuff. So I really liked that about it. The first collector's edition that I got was the Dragon Age Origins strategy guide, and I remember the funny thing about this strategy guide was that I'm back in the shot. But the funny thing about this strategy guide was that during the time that Dragon Age Origins came out, my brother's Xbox 360 stopped working. It red ringed, and I was like, I think it was like maybe a week before Dragon Age Origins released. Oh my god, we need to get this fixed or you're gonna go buy a 360. You're gonna go buy a 360 so that I could play my game. So my brother sent in the 360 to Microsoft to get it fixed, and it did not come in time, and I was freaking out. I didn't get Dragon Age Origins. I didn't play Dragon Age Origins when it came out. I think I played it a few days after, maybe a week after. So what I had done, I had bought this. I bought this so that I could keep myself sane. I was like, I need to know more about this game because I wasn't able to play it. So I bought the collector's edition, and one of the main reasons I got it, I mean, look at this. It's freaking covered in Post-it notes. One of the main reasons I got it was so that I could start planning what character I was going to make. I didn't look at any of the missions, obviously, beforehand. You could see that they're all highlighted. And I'm going to talk about this in a little bit as to why they're highlighted and stuff. Goes into detail for the class builds. And the class builds were... I don't know if they were more complicated. You really had to focus on the right stats because in these games you did have to level up the stat, and in Dragon Age Inquisition you don't. But here, before I played the game, I was going in here and I was looking at Warrior, and I was already trying to plan out the character that I was gonna make. I was like reading on it, and I was like, oh cool, this is the type of combat skills for this and for that. And this was the first Dragon Age game, so I wanted to get a good idea of what it was going to be like with the classes and stuff like that. So that's pretty much why I got this. This is a really cool strategy guide. I think this is one of my favorite strategy guides because of everything that it has. This is only with the collector's edition. It doesn't come with the regular edition of the strategy guide for Dragon Age Origins, but it had like the people of Thedas, humans, elves. It's pretty much just history, and it was big. Elven history part 1, Elven history part 2, part 3, race the dwarves, the Kunari. It went into a lot of history, and since again this was the first game, I really wanted to get a good idea of the world that this was going to be. So this is what I pretty much did while I played the game. I read the history of it. See, it's got like on the Maker, on Andraste, on the Maker, on the Schism, on Lyrium, on Mana, pretty much on everything. So I was like, I fell in love with this strategy guide. Another really, really cool thing about this strategy guide is the artwork. At the very back, but after the history and all that, there are some gorgeous pieces of art. I love it. It's so gorgeous, some of this artwork. This is the cover and the back, I think, of The Calling. This one. So that's how it looks like without it being folded in half. And then at the very back, it's all signed by the devs, so I thought that was really cool. And I love the way the paper. It's like parchment paper almost. It's usually this shiny, glossy paper. So once I got the game, this helped so much in, again, attributes. I've got warrior chain tips, warrior DPS model, combat tactics, companions. You read on the companions, the bios. You've got vendors, which helps a lot sometimes when you don't know who sells what, and you're like, where the freaking hell do I go, especially in an RPG like that. you want to know where the vendors are and all that. And again, you could just go online, but I like to have it all there and just boom, look, and then that's it, and not have to be looking online. The maps help out a lot because they also have the locations of areas with the key here. So it does make things easier for when you're starting. Which a lot of people, that's why they don't like them, because they're like, no, I want to learn it by myself. But for a completionist, which I'm a completionist my first playthrough for games, especially RPGs, and especially games that I really like. So that's why I said that I pretty much only get strategy guides for games that I love. So here, I pretty much have strategy guides for Dragon Age, Mass Effect. I have one for Skyrim because Skyrim was enormous and I needed something to keep track of everything. I got the strategy guide for Dark Souls because of how complicated it was, and I needed some help with how I should go about combat and stuff like that. The Witcher also, this helped a lot. In the Dragon Age Origins strategy guide, since this was an older strategy guide, these are the ones where you couldn't really avoid spoilers. I don't get these so that I could see how to complete missions. None of that. I pretty much just use them to keep track of missions, because like I said, when you're a completionist, you want to make sure that you got every mission, every side quest, everything. So this is the only way you could keep track of that, because I was seeing people with Dragon Age Inquisition, they were like, yeah, I did everything. And I was like, really? And I was like almost 300 hours into the game, and I was like, and they're like, I beat it in 50 hours or 30 hours. And I'm like, how the hell did you do everything? And when I'd ask them some things, they're like, oh, I didn't see that, or I didn't find that, or how was I supposed to get that, or I never did that quest, I never encountered that quest. And I will admit that there is appeal to that as well, because you don't get the full experience until you keep playing it and playing it and playing it. And every time you play it, you find something new. So there is that appeal that I usually don't get because I do everything the first time around. But so I do understand why people like doing that and prefer not to have a guide. But this is just different play styles. I just like to look in my journal in the game and then start checking off the missions, because they all have the title. I think the one that started to change was Dragon Age 2, because Dragon Age 2, I didn't get the collector's edition of this one. I kind of wish I had, but I didn't. In Dragon Age 2, this strategy guide was made in a very cool way, because it had spoilers in mind. And that's what I wanted to say, is that now strategy guides are being made so that you could prevent reading spoilers. It'll say spoiler, or it'll change things in different colors so you don't read that part. I didn't really have to look at the side quests, because they had all of the side quests, all of the main quests, like this in a tree. See up here it says Act 1, and then you've got all the side quests and which side quests activate which side quests, and depending on the color scheme, if you could see the little legend over here, depending on the color, it was a companion quest, a secondary quest, or a main plot quest. So and this was act opening finishing quest. So here you didn't even have to look at the detailed missions, and this really helped because it prevented reading spoilers, because all you had was the titles of the missions, which that's why I have it all highlighted on here, because these are the pages that I used. Now see how I don't have anything highlighted on the main quest or on the side quest, because I rarely ever looked in here. I pretty much would look in here after I had beaten the game, where I'm like, for the second playthrough, where I'd be like, okay, let's see what I've missed, to see if I could change that to experience something different. Here's Act 2. So I love this strategy guide. I wish more strategy guides were made like this. This part was the cross class combos this was a really big thing that people were really confused about Dragon Age 2 when first starting, because this wasn't really, I think it was in Dragon Age Origins, but not as pronounced as it was in Dragon Age 2. The combos, the cross-class combos. This helped me understand the system easily. And again, you've got character bios. And this one also has the encyclopedia, kind of like it did in the Dragon Age Origins one. So I read these a lot. Like, it's got the character bio. So I really love the back of strategy guides. They really give you a lot of really cool stuff. The older ones, like Mass Effect, this is, I remember using this. This is old. This was another really useful way of doing the missions, where they have the map of a specific area, and then they have all the missions there for that area. I really, really like organizing my strategy guides. It relaxes me. I just sit there in my room or in the kitchen table, and I'm just like, writing the titles of each thing. And I'll take a while sometimes. Like, I took a really long time to organize my Witcher strategy guide for The Witcher 3, but I really love doing that. So it not only does it help me in the game when it comes to keeping track of the missions and all that, but it also relaxes me. It's stupid. Like, sometimes my brothers will look at me and they're like, what is she doing? Like, it looks like she's doing homework. Mass Effect 2 strategy guide, I remember using it a lot for the planets. This helped so much. It helped so much because sometimes you're like, where the hell was this freaking planet? And there's so many systems, and there's nebulas and all this crap, and you didn't know where any of it was, and you're like, how do I get this particular, element 0? Where do I find this? Or where do I find iridium or something, where you would mine the planet? So whenever I'd go mining, I'd have this here, and I'd be like, okay, I have to go to this system, and then I have to get, this planet is, see, it says, it tells you the world type. There's no element 0 there. Iridium, it's poor. Platinum is rich. Palladium is moderate. And this one came with the first part of the Redemption comic, I believe, at the very back. Mass Effect 3, I didn't use this one too much. See, as you can see, I didn't even put side tabs because it's so big and it's heavy. It's hardcover. This is the collector's edition. This one, they didn't do too good of a job to prevent spoilers, because I remember looking through it and then I saw, I don't remember where I saw a picture of indoctrinated Elusive Man, and I was like, what? And I closed the book really quick, and I was like, I'm not gonna look through that anymore. So sometimes when you see that they're not careful with spoilers, it's like, sometimes I don't even want to look through it, Sometimes I'm just like, so I didn't use this strategy guide very much. Oh, look at this picture. That's awesome. I just like learning. Some people, they prefer to learn as they go, but I like to go into games, especially RPGs, not all of them, but just RPGs. I like to understand, have a good grasp, have somewhat of a grasp of systems, and then applying them, and then finally using them in the game and being like, okay, this is what I read, now I get it. That's just my personality. It was the way I was with school. I don't go to school anymore, but I miss it so much. So this is, like I said, my brother's there like, it looks like she's doing homework. This is a big way for me to feel like I'm almost studying, like I'm reading, I'm doing my homework. It sounds stupid, but it's something that I like to do. So this is one of the reasons why I love getting strategy guides. Skyrim was another really big one. I didn't use it as much as I thought I would. See, there's only a few tabs here. I also wanted to learn a little bit more about the races. This one really went into a lot of detail as well. Right here, I don't know if you guys could see it. Right there, that little bar right there, it says minor spoilers. If you read this, you were probably going to be spoiled when it comes to the story. I didn't use this one very much because I didn't like the way that the missions were set up. I wish it was like a list of missions. The Witcher 3 did it very well. I love this strategy guide. This is the collector's edition. Not only is it freaking gorgeous, it's all glossy, like shiny. But it also did a really good job about preventing spoilers. Like this one I read a lot. And I never got spoiled. None of it ever ruined the game for me, nothing. See, this is what I'm talking about, a list. This did it perfectly. It was a list. See this whole thing right here? Like it explains everything here. In this bar right here, it's telling you if you see this, it says it's spoiler alert. So they did a really good job of warning you. Here it tells you what the quest is going to be, whether it's going to be a Gwent thingy or whatever. The danger alert. They would put a lot of these little symbols. Like if you saw a symbol of a sparrow, they were going to talk about Ciri. So if you didn't want to know anything about Ciri, you wouldn't read that part where the little sparrow was. So it was ways of warning you, don't read this, just read this. This is not going to spoil you in any way. So that's what I'm talking about, that strategy guides have been changing so much throughout the years. Sometimes they're just boom, and you're probably going to be spoiled. You're probably going to be reading some spoilers by accident. This strategy guide was almost perfect. The Dragon Age 2 strategy guide was also really good about preventing spoilers. See here, some missions, there was no spoiler alert Yrden sign there, so it's like it's not that big of a mission. Here it has one Yrden sign that's highlighted. I don't know if you guys could see that. If you did want to end up reading about the mission, like how to do something, if you did want to go into that, it was very clear. But a lot of times it wouldn't tell you what was going to happen if you did this. So I thought that was really, really cool. Another thing that really helped were the maps. I use this so much because the map system in The Witcher 3 is kind of stupid. I don't want to go too much into detail with that because I'm not even done with the game, first of all, so I'm not going to sit here and review the game. A lot of times you didn't see all the icons that were in a specific area, so you're like, is there a blacksmith here or not? And since the map is so huge, it helped me out, especially in the beginning, because towards later on when you already know where things are, I was like, where is Crow's Perch? Like what? So I'd have to be like scrolling in the whole map, and I'm like, I don't know where this is. So this helped so much to be able to read the map in a more convenient way. And then another thing that I used it for sometimes was the alchemy charts, where I'm like, okay, I need this root or this flower, and I was like, where does it grow? Because sometimes they're just there. It's so big. It's like, where do I even find this damn flower? I mean, you could just go and buy it a lot of times, but a lot of times I wanted to find them myself. Let's say you needed the flower celandine. It would tell you its location is in fields and forests, so that way you knew where you probably could go and find it. Where you're like, okay, where was there a field? There was a field in White Orchard or something. So you would go there in the fields and you'd see it, and it was very precise. This helped me out a lot. The art of The Witcher, another really cool thing at the very back, artwork on the characters. So this is a really, I love this strategy guide. This is one of my favorites. How cool is this? The Wild Hunt. Finally, Dragon Age Inquisition. This was another one that I really liked. This one, I've got like all these things on it as well. I would use this a lot for the areas, like the Forbidden Oasis. It tells you what grows there. Like there's elfroot, spindleweed, blood lotus, dragon thorn, witherstock, Paragon's luster, so that when you're looking for things for crafting, you know exactly where you have to go. This one I don't think had a list of the quests. It just had the quest title and how to finish it. Bios on the characters. This one didn't do a very good job about preventing spoilers, because for example, if you're just like, oh, I got the strategy guide, and you're just like scrolling through it, you could like right there, that moment is already ruined. The good thing is that I didn't do that. I learned my lesson in Mass Effect 3, so I didn't do that. This is cool because it has a timeline of the world, where everything happened when it comes to the books and all that. And then at the very beginning, it has little bios of the devs, which I thought was really cute, like Leah from the Dragon Age Keep. And the really cool thing about this strategy guide, it has tips of the developers in here. See, developer tip. This one is from Aaron Bend, QA, and he says, I enjoy bringing Iron Bull, Sarah, and Cole to Adamant Fortress. No one is happy to be there, and it results in some phenomenal banter. Like I said, I'm not trying to sell the concept of strategy guides to you guys, because I know it's not for everybody, and I could see the appeal on both sides. Like I was saying, I do think that having that notion of being able to play it over and over and over and over and still find new things is also a really cool way of playing games. Like I think that's also absolutely legitimate, a legitimate way of playing games. But I like to have my strategy guides. Like I said, some of them I didn't really use. I do always use them to keep track of quests or missions, to know that I did them all. They're just fun to me, just to keep track of things so that not everything isn't all out of order and you're just like, I sound like I'm freaking OCD or something, you know, like I want everything in order. I don't want everything in order, but I do like a sense of some sense of organization. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. As you can see, I have a lot to say about strategy guides, because I love my strategy guides. They've been my partners in crime for a lot of these big games. It almost immerses me more, because it makes me feel like I am Commander Shepard, you know? Like, it's like, okay, give me the planetary book, the database. Okay, let's go to this place. This place has more iridium or whatever. Especially when the guide is done well, so that it's not telling you exactly what's gonna happen in that area or something. You know, it's like, freaking A, I shouldn't have read that. You know, if the strategy guide is done well, they come in handy. Let me know in the comments down below, if you don't use strategy guides, how do you keep track of things, especially when it comes to big RPGs? How do you keep track of everything? Or do you just go blind into it, and just every playthrough is going to eventually show you something new until you finally know everything about the game? That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.